Hey everybody, this is my submission for the Amazon Alexa Life Hacks Challenge. My name is Trey Harrison and my skill is called AnyPod. With AnyPod, I'm trying to create the best podcast listening experience on Alexa. I started working on AnyPod about a year ago, and in that time I've received a lot of great feedback from podcast fans and producers all over the world. I've also been in touch with a lot of visually impaired and disabled listeners whose stories have really encouraged me to keep building this skill so that just about anyone, regardless of their physical limitations, can navigate and enjoy the incredible world of podcasts. Alexa, ask AnyPod to play Life Hacks.
Now playing Life Hacks, Spoken Edition. On this episode, this app lets you verify a news story by talking to someone on the scene. Hi, this is
Alexa,
Spoken Edition.
Stop. When you play a podcast for the first time, AnyPod will usually play the newest episode. But for certain podcasts, it makes more sense to start playing at the beginning of the series. And for these podcasts, AnyPod will do this automatically. Alexa, ask AnyPod to play Serial.
Now playing Serial. On this episode, Season 1, Episode 1, The Alibi. Hello, Serial listener.
Alexa,
It's
stop. If you're already listening to Serial in another podcast player and you're somewhere in the middle, you can direct AnyPod to start playing at the right spot. Alexa, ask AnyPod to play Season 2, Episode 5.
Now playing Serial. On this episode, Season 2, Episode 5, Meanwhile, in Tampa.
Alexa, ask AnyPod to fast forward 12 minutes and 45 seconds.
Intersection in LaFleur.
Alexa, stop. If you listen to podcasts that are updated frequently, like daily or hourly news podcasts, AnyPod has a great subscriptions feature that makes it easy to subscribe to these podcasts and play the newest episodes with a single command. Alexa, ask AnyPod to subscribe to The Daily.
I think you asked for The Daily. Did I get that right? Would you like to subscribe?
Yes.
You're now subscribed to The Daily.
Subscribe to BBC NewsHour.
I think you asked for NewsHour. Did I get that right? Would you like to subscribe?
Yes.
You're now subscribed to NewsHour. To listen to your subscriptions, you can say play my podcasts.
Play my podcasts.
Now playing NewsHour. On this episode, Mike Pompeo.
Alexa, stop. So as you saw before, you can fast forward, you can rewind, you can also use the previous and next commands to get from one episode to the next. And there are even more commands described in the manual for navigating through episodes. However you choose to listen to your podcasts, you never need to worry about losing your place. Whenever you return to a podcast, AnyPod remembers where you left off. Alexa, ask AnyPod to play Serial.
Now playing Serial. On this episode, Season 2, Episode 5, Meanwhile, in Tampa. Several people
Alexa,
by the end of it.
Stop. The latest update to AnyPod came out a few weeks ago, and it gives users the ability to link the AnyPod skill to the AnyPod website. On the website, you can view and manage your subscriptions, you can search for and add new podcasts, and you can create custom launch phrases. A launch phrase is the keywords that you use when telling AnyPod to play a podcast, and custom phrases come in really handy when you're trying to play something like Kermode and Mayo's Film Review. This is actually one of the most popular film review podcasts produced by the BBC, and Alexa is amazing, but Kermode and Mayo just isn't in her vocabulary. Let's go with, say, BBC Film. Alexa, ask AnyPod to play BBC Film.
Now playing Kermode and Mayo's Film Review.
BBC 5 Live.
Alexa, stop. There's one last thing on the website I want to mention. It's really useful if you're listening to a podcast on Alexa, but you have to leave and go somewhere without her. If I just hit refresh, you can see it brings up the most recently played podcast here. I can hit play. I can fast forward. Alexa, ask AnyPod to play BBC Film.
Now playing Kermode and Mayo's Film Review. On this episode, with Eddie Marsan.
Alexa, stop. Thanks for watching, and please get in touch if you have any feedback or questions. Just send an email to anypodskill@gmail.com.